Okay, Marquez. Shh. Number 1, the order pair 3, 2 is a solution of which system of equations? So how do I find the point 3, 2, Marquez? I start from the middle.
Okay, so
And go where?
you go up, you start from 0,
Uh-huh.
and then you go 3x,
Yep.
and then 2y.
Go up 2, right? So that point right there. So all you need to do is figure out what 2 lines
And this-
that's sitting on. So it's sitting on that line and that line. Okay? So this line here, you just have to see what's pointing to it, is y equals 2x minus 4. And this line is the y equals negative 1/3 x plus 3. So it looks like that is number C. Letter C.
Number C.
Number C. Okay, how do we know if 2 lines don't have a solution? Because their slope is? What kind of lines are these?
Parallel.
Parallel lines have the same slope or different slope?
Same slope.
Exactly the same. That's why they don't touch, right?
Yeah.
So anything that has the same slope is going to have, that pair is going to be parallel lines. Okay? So what do you know about number 2? What's the slope of the top equation? Let's see, who do we want? Sydney. What's the slope of my top equation? 2. What's the slope of my bottom equation? 2. So same slope, so what kind of lines are they? Parallel. So they have no solution. So 2 is going to be F. Okay? They have the same slope. Okay. Gabe. Number 3. Is that second equation in slope-intercept form?
Yeah.
It is?
No.
Oh. What do I have to do to move it?
You have to add to it.
Good. So it would be y equals 2x. So what do you know about those 2 equations? Are they the same or different?
They're the same.
They're exactly the same. So what that means is no matter what numbers you plug in, they're always going to be the same. Right? So do you think that has 0 solutions, 1 solution, or infinite solutions? Infinite. No matter what numbers you plug in for x and y, those equations are always the same forever and ever. They have an infinite number of solutions. So that's going to be G. Okay? And Andreas, number 4. Do they have the same slope or different? Different slope. So at some point they're going to do what? They're going to intercept each other, right? At some point they're going to intercept. So they're going to have 1 solution. Okay? Good. So your choices are always 1, none, or infinite. Okay? This one was infinite. And really the slope is what tells you. Okay? Good. All right. Number 5. Victor. When solving the system of equations, which expression could be substituted for r in the second equation? So it's really asking what? What does r equal? So what does r equal? 4 minus t. Right? So you can substitute that in to the second equation. So that would be A. Good. Jack A. Jax! It's on record now, Jax. Aren't you happy? Okay. If x equals 2 and 3x plus y equals 5, what is the value of y? So what can you do with that value of x?
You would put 3 times 2.
Good. 3 times 2 plus y equals 5. What's 3 times 2? 6 plus y equals 5. Then what do I do?
You put y. Wait. Oh, you put the line. Equal sign. Yeah, and then you would like add them 5 to the 6.
Well, I want the y by itself. So what needs to move? Wait a minute.
Wait,
What?
the 6.
The 6. How do I move it?
It would be y equals 6.
What is? I would subtract the 6 because it's positive, right? So I need to move it over there. What's 5 minus 6? What?
Negative 1.
-1. Good. So y equals -1. So that would be G.
Can I do 7?
Sure. Let's do 7. Okay. So you're going to use substitution to solve that system. So what are you substituting for what?
So you plug in the 3 and minus 11 where the n is.
Good. So it's going to go right there. So we're going to have, tell me what to write.
So you're going to have 2m plus 3, and then parentheses, 3m minus 11, parentheses sign, equals 0,
Minus 11
equals 0.
equals 0. Good. So
And then,
multiply all that out for me.
so then what you're going to get is you're going to get 2m plus 9 equals minus 33 equals 0.
Plus 9m minus 33 equals 0. Okay.
And then you're going to,
You want variables on the left side or the right side?
I want the m's on the left
Okay.
side. So I'm going to add 2m to 9m and get 11m.
Good.
And then that's minus 33, so we can divide that.
Wait, time out. Not yet. Do you have letters on one side and numbers on the other side?
No,
Oh,
not yet.
okay.
So then you want to get rid of the 33,
Yep.
and so you just move it over.
And when you move it to the other side,
It
it,
becomes a positive.
It becomes a
and then
positive,
you
good.
divide
good. Now what do you do?
11, and you get 3.
Excellent. So m equals 3. Nicely done. M equals 3. Now what do we have to do?
So now we have to find out. Wait a minute.
Because this is asking us to solve the whole system, not
Yes.
just one
It's not just
variable.
M, it wants n too. So
So where am I plugging that 3 into?
you can plug the 3 into the m in the regular equation.
In the first equation or the second?
You can plug it into the second.
Okay. And on a test, which equation should you plug it into to make sure that you're really getting the right answer? Both. Good answer. Okay.
So you plug it in, and it's 2, and then you put the 3 in there, so it's 2 times 3. And then plus n equals 0.
So we're going to plug it into,
So plug it into where the,
so now we know m equals 3, so we're going to plug it into 2 times 3 plus 3n
yeah,
equals 0. So what's 2 times 3?
6.
Plus 3n equals 0. So now what do I do?
We want the variables on the left side and
Okay.
the numbers on the right, so it's going to become negative 6.
So 3n equals negative 6 because that's going to move over. Good.
Divide
And so n equals,
to
what?
negative 2.
Negative 2. In my parentheses, what comes first, the m or the n?
In your parentheses.
Monkeys or noses?
Yeah,
Monkeys, it's always alphabetical, okay? The only time it's not necessarily going to be alphabetical is in a word problem where you've decided maybe the y-axis is your apple axis and your x-axis is your peach axis. Then it's not necessarily alphabetical because it's going exactly by what the word problem's talking about, but otherwise your parentheses are always alphabetical.
I have a question. too.
Yes.
So can we, during the actual test?
Yes.
Will we still get marked off if we, I know it asks to solve from both of the equations, so you can then find m and n.
Mhm.
But once you find m in this case, you can use process of elimination to find out that it has to be C because there's no positive 3 in the front of it. Does that still count as getting the answer? Will you mark us off?
Well, it would, except there's no multiple choice on your test.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that.
So in theory, yes, it would work, but there's no multiple choice on your test. So
Okay, that makes sense.
you all heard that, right? No multiple choice.
No multiple choice.
You're going to like no multiple choice better because if multiple choice, the problem with it is it's all or nothing. If you get it right, you get it all right. If you get it wrong, you get it all wrong, right? But in free response, if you get most of it right, but I see you just made a little mathematical error, I can give you 9 points out of 10 instead of 0 points out of 10. Right?
Oh, yeah, that works.
Oh, yes. See, come to the bright side, children. There we go. Okay. Any volunteers for number 8, or should I pick? Okay, Killian. Wait. Oh. Marquez, do you want to do that one?
Julian's like, yes.
That's all right, Killian. You're next. So, Marquez, are you doing this one for me? Okay, so number 8. Use elimination to solve the system of equations. So we have x minus y equals 5, x plus y equals 3. So, what's the first question you ask yourself with elimination? Does one of my variables cancel? If it doesn't cancel, what do you have to do? You have to make it cancel. By doing what? You multiply your equations by something that will get one of your variables to cancel, right? Good. Okay, Marquez, so do I have a variable that cancels?
Negative y, positive y.
Negative y, positive y.
Uh,
Come back. Cancels. Good. Okay. So now how many x's do I have?
You have 5x,
What?
or 2x,
2x equals,
8,
good. Now what do I do?
divide 2. by-
Good.
Yeah,
So x equals,
4.
perfect. Now which equation would you like to plug it into?
The bottom one.
The bottom one? So x plus y equals 3. What am I plugging in where?
Plugging the 4 to x.
Good. 4 plus y equals 3. Now what do I do?
Now you minus the 4.
Good.
and minus, yeah,
So y equals
-1.
negative 1. Should we plug it into the other one just to be sure?
Yeah.
Why not?
Most definitely.
So we have x minus y equals 5. So our x is 4 minus, or y is -1. What's a negative negative?
Positive.
Positive, so 4 plus 1 equals 5, and that is correct. Marquez will get all 10 points on that problem. Very nice, Marquez. Okay, so 4 -1 would have been G. Okay? Killian! Hi. You thought I forgot about you, didn't you? You were hoping I forgot about you. Okay, so let's do number 9. Hang on, I gotta make sure I'm in the camera range here. There we go. So use elimination to solve the system of equations. Let me rewrite those for you. X plus 6y equals 10. X plus 5y equals 9. Do you have a variable that cancels? No. What variable would you like to make cancel? Does it matter which one you cancel first? Nope.
One
Wait.
is negative 10.
The top one is not negative 10.
Oh, just kidding. It looks like it was printed, but it was.
But thanks for keeping me on my toes, Peyton. I appreciate that. Okay. So which variable would you like to cancel, Killian? Which variable? The x's or the y's? Do you?
Yeah.
You could do the y's. Would the x's be easier, maybe?
Yeah.
You could do either one, right?
Choose X
Okay.
for Y.
Well, you know what? Let's go with the y's because that one's harder. So let's just do a hard one. Then we know we can do the easy one.
Okay.
So what's the number that 6 and 5 can go into? Multiply them together.
30.
30. So if I made the top one equal 30y and the bottom one equal negative 30y, would they cancel?
Yeah.
They would. Okay? So now you just have to figure out what you have to multiply everything by. So 6 times what is going to give me 30? 5. So this whole equation has to get multiplied by 5. Okay? 5 times what gives me negative 30? Negative what? 6. Perfect. Okay? So we can absolutely do it that way. There's no problem with that. Sometimes when you only have to flip signs, for some reason, that confuses people. Don't know why. So you might want to do it this way just to be sure. So that's fine. So multiply this whole top equation for me by 5.
So 5X.
Yep. And we already know that's got to be 30y because that's what we're making it be. And then 50. Make sure when you're multiplying that you multiply all 3 parts of your equation. Okay, it's kind of a common mistake to forget about this one over here. To forget about the constant, that's kind of a common mistake. Make sure, and if you need to do times 5, times 5, times 5, so you don't forget, then make sure you do that. Okay? All right, what's the bottom one?
30, negative 30. Well,
Negative-
6X, negative 30.
Negative 6x, negative 30y, and negative 54. Excellent. Okay, now we just have to add them up. So what's 5x minus 6x?
1X. Negative 1X, yeah.
Negative 1x, 30y minus 30y.
Yes.
Goes away. Goodbye. 50 minus 54. What? Negative 4. Now what do I do, Killian?
You divide? Yeah, you
Killian?
divide by the 1.
By negative 1. So negative 4 divided by negative 1 is? 4. Good. Okay? Halfway home. So now which equation do you want to plug into? Now you have 4 choices of equations, by the way. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So pick one of them. What? B. The second one?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So x plus 5y equals 9. What am I plugging in where?
5 and
What did we already solve for?
X,
X. So where am I going to plug that in?
Y,
What?
Y,
Wait a minute. What does 4 equal?
X.
X. So I'm going to plug it in right here for x, right?
Okay.
Okay. So 4 plus 5y equals 9. How do I solve that?
Add it all up.
Add it all up. Do I have letters on one side and numbers on the other side?
No.
No. So put numbers on one side and letters on the other side for me. What needs to move?
So put 4 under 9.
And is it going to say positive 4 or go to negative?
Negative.
Negative 4. Good. So 5y equals, what's 9 minus 4?
Oh, 5.
5. Then what do I do?
Divide.
Divide by
5.
5. So y equals
1.
1. Beautiful. So your point should be 4, 1. When you give me your answers on the test, should they just be x equals 4 with a box around it and y equals 1 with a box around it? Or should it be in coordinate form? Coordinate form. And if you do not, I will mark you down for it. Got that?
Yes.
Okay. And I'll even put a little smiley face as I mark you down for it, just so you know. Hang on one sec. Okay, so 4-1 was answer B for that. Okay? All right, who wanted to do number 10? Brian. Okay, use elimination to find the value of x in the solution of the system of equations. So this is number 10. 2x plus 2y equals 10. 2x minus 3y equals 5. So, do any of your variables cancel, Brian?
Yeah. The x.
Do they? What's 2 plus 2?
4.
Oh.
Oh, the y.
What's 2 minus 3?
Negative 1.
Oh. If they cancel, what do they have to add up to?
0.
Oh.
Brian, why you go after me?
So now, how can we make them do what you want, Brian? Pick a variable.
X.
Okay. So what do I need to make one of those into to make it cancel?
And the
What's the opposite of 2x?
negative 2.
Negative 2x. How am I going to make that bottom equation be a negative 2x? Multiply by?
2.
2 times what gives you negative 2?
Negative 2.
Say uno.
Oh, 1.
Negative 1, right? Wow. Okay. So, and I'm just going to rewrite them over here. So the top equation doesn't need to change, so it's fine. Multiply that whole bottom equation by negative 1, Brian, which does what to our signs?
It flips
them.
Lower.
Yep. So what do you get?
Negative 2x plus 3y
Yes.
equals negative 5.
Perfect. Now what do you do? So now they're going to cancel, right?
You cancel x.
Good. So 2 plus 3 is?
5y.
And 10 minus 5 is?
Negative 5.
What?
5.
Thank you. Now what do I do?
Divide by 5 on both sides and y equals 1.
Y equals uno. Good. Now which equation would you like to plug back into?
The first one.
First one. So 2x plus 2y. Where is that 1 going to get plugged in? For which variable?
And the 2 times 1 instead of the y.
Right there, right?
Yeah.
So 2x plus 2 times 1 equals 10. What's 2 times 1?
2.
How do I solve that?
Subtract 2 on both sides. Or,
Yep.
yeah. And then you divide by 2.
Wait a minute. What is this?
8.
8. Then I divide by 2, so x equals
4.
4. How can we check our answer? Which one do you want to plug it into?
The second.
The second one. So 2 times our x value is 4 minus 3
Times 1.
times 1 should equal 5. What's 2 times 4?
8.
Minus 3?
3 or 5.
5. So that checks out. Very nice. So, oh, and it only wanted the value of x. Well, we found both because we're special. So that was h. Okay? Good, good. 11, anyone?
Dylan wants to do it.
I'm sorry, how is it H?
Because it's looking for only the x value. And our solution was 4, 1. Yeah. Actually, I think AJ wants to volunteer. AJ? Oh, don't worry. Dylan's time is coming.
His jaw dropped.
That's okay.
It did drop.
All right, AJ, you ready? To eliminate the variable y in the system of equations, multiply the second equation by which number? So we're only looking right here. So we want to eliminate the y. What is the opposite of 4y? Shh, AJ. Negative 4y. So right now I have negative y, which is the same thing as negative 1y. So what do I need to multiply that by to get negative 4y? 4. Perfect. Okay? That's all I was asking. You don't even have to solve that one. Did you go ahead and solve it anyway? Oh, good. That's fine.
Wait, what?
It's extra practice. All I want to know is what do you need to multiply that second equation by to get the y's to eliminate? Didn't actually ask you to do it. Okay. For questions 12 and 13, determine the best method to solve the system of equations. This is kind of a preference, but sometimes there's an easier way to do something. That's why you need to know both ways. So, Lily.
What?
Yes, Miss V. Yes, Miss V.
Yes.
There we go. Which way would be the easiest to solve number 12? Using elimination, substitution, elimination using addition, elimination using multiplication, what?
Elimination.
Just elimination. Do you have to multiply anything, or is it going to cancel? It's already going to cancel, right? So just elimination using addition, so that would be B.
Yeah,
If you just tell me elimination, that's fine.
I was gonna say elimination.
Were you?
Yeah.
Okay.
You just need it.
Blue?
How do you know if it's addition or subtraction?
I'm not going to ask you a question like this on the test, except to say, if I were going to have you solve this, would you rather use elimination or substitution?
Oh.
Because pretty much with all elimination, you're really using addition all the time. And once in a while, you're using multiplication. As long as you realize it's elimination, I'm fine with that. Okay, so since we're on the subject, Blue, how would you solve number 13?
Number 13, elimination using multiplication.
You could do that, right? If you moved your x to the other side, so you had both your x and y. This is the equivalent. That's the equivalent equation, right? I just moved the x to the other side.
Right.
So you could do elimination using multiplication. Could you also use substitution for this equation? For that system? You sure could. So that's a personal preference, okay? Like I've told you many times, I don't care which way you do it, as long as you do it well and do it correctly. Right, Jax?
Yeah.
Right. John?
Yes.
So I would say any answer is fine for 13. Substitution is probably the first one you would look at because the y is isolated. It's not necessarily the easiest.
Yeah, I wrote down A, but I don't know, I thought it was wrong.
That one's kind of a preference thing.
You put 2y plus y.
What?
You put 2y plus y.
Picky, Peyton. Jeez. Okay. Mr. Kibler, you do? Awesome. Thanks, Mr. Kibler. The length of a rectangle is 3 times the width. The sum of the length and the width is 24 inches. What is the length of the rectangle? So the easiest thing is if you get a word problem like this, which you very well could, draw yourself a picture.
That's what I did.
Okay, the length of a rectangle is 3 times the width. So Dylan, do you know how wide it is?
Yeah, 3 times.
That's the length, right? You don't know what the width is, so what do you want to call the width? Call it something. Give it a letter. W. Okay? What do you know about the length? Is it bigger than that, smaller than that?
Bigger.
By how many times? 3 times, so we can call it 3W. Correct? The sum of the length and the width is 24 inches. So write me an equation that says that. What's the length?
3
3 what?
W
3W. What's the width?
W.
W. And when you add the length and the width? Ooh, hang on. Oh my God.
Miss B, God bless them.
Thank you. The length, and that's on tape too. The length and the width added together is how much?
4 W.
Read up here, Dylan. The sum of the length and the width is
24 inches.
24. How can you figure out how wide it is?
Divide.
By what? How many W's do I have on the left-hand side? What's 3W plus W?
4. No.
Yes? 4W equals 24. Now what do I do? Now say it.
Divide.
Oh, there we go. By what? What am I dividing by? By what?
4.
4. So our width is
5. No, 6.
6. Good. So if our width is 6, how long is our length, Dylan? It's 3 times as big. So what's 3 times 6?
21.
Wait, it's not even a multiple choice. 21 isn't even on there.
3 times 6 is 18. What is 18 plus 6? This is painful, Dylan. 18 plus 6 is 24. So that checks out. Good. So that would have been answer G. Michaela, your turn, honey. Okay, number 15. What?
For number 6, you did the width of the rectangle, not the length. Wouldn't the
Oh, the length, oh, you're right. The width is 6, thank you. The length is 18. So that should be J, thank you, Lily. Okay. Read your questions carefully, children. Michaela, darling, an airport shuttle company owns sedans that have a maximum capacity of 3 passengers and vans that have a maximum capacity of 8. Their 12 vehicles have a combined maximum capacity of 61 passengers. How many vans does the company own, Michaela? So, how many situations do we have going? How many situations do we have going on? 2. One deals with how many cars we have, and one deals with how many passengers we have, right? So let's deal with vehicles and passengers. So what are we going to call our sedans? S. And what are we going to call our vans? V's. That would make sense. Equals, and remember that our third column always equals the total. So, Michaela, how many total vehicles do we have? They have 12 total vehicles, and those 12 vehicles can hold how many people? 61. Good. So, we have sedans plus vans that give us those 12. How many passengers can you hold per sedan?
8.
Per sedan?
3.
3. So how can I write 3 per sedan? 3 S, good. And there's 8 passengers per van. How can I write that? 8 V, good. Good. Okay, so now which one would you like to eliminate first, Michaela, the sedans or the vans? The sedans. Okay, so what's the opposite of 3S? Negative 3S. So what do I need to multiply the top equation by? Negative 3. Good. So multiply that whole equation for me, and I'm just going to rewrite it down here. What's negative 3 times S? What is negative 3 times V? And what's negative 3 times 12? Positive or negative? Negative. What's 3 times 12? Help her out. What's 3 times 12? Anybody? Thank you. There we go. Okay. Sorry.
Quick question, so sorry.
Michaela, so what's 3S minus 3S? What do they do to each other? They cancel each other out. What's 8V minus 3V? Shh. What's 8V minus 3V? 5V. And what's 61 minus 36? 25. Nice. Okay, then what do I do?
Divide by 5.
Divide by 5. So how many vans do they have?
5.
If they have 5 vans and there's 12 vehicles total, how many sedans must they have?
7.
Excellent. Can we multiply back and double check? If they have 8 people per van, how many people is that? What's 8 times 5? 40. Plus, and they have 3 people per sedan, what's 3 times 7? 21. 21, and how many vehicles could they hold altogether? They could hold 61 altogether, right? Good. So that would have been A, because it's asking for vans. Inequalities. So, Brian, I pulled your card, ironically, so there you go. Okay, what is the solution to the system of inequalities? Where is the solution going to be? In the shaded area, the unshaded area, or the really dark shaded area where both things got shaded?
In the shaded area.
The really dark shaded area over here, right?
Yeah.
So where is 0, 2?
Right there.
Right where?
Up, a little bit up.
Up there, right?
Up.
Is that in the really dark shaded area?
No.
No. Whoop, so that one's out. Where's 0, 0?
In the middle of the graph.
Is that in the really dark shaded area?
Nope.
No, not a solution. Shh. Where's 1, 1?
A little bit. Right there.
1, 1?
Yep.
Yes. So is that a solution?
Yeah.
Yes, that is a solution. What about 2, 4?
Nope.
2, it's too high up,
Yeah.
right? So that is not. So 1, 1 is the only one that's a solution to that system. Excellent. Okay, last one, Vanessa. And it wants to know, looking at this same picture, what system of inequalities is represented. So we need to write an equation for each of our lines. Okay, so Vanessa, let's start with the dashed line. Okay, what's its y-intercept? On the y-axis, where's my pen? At 1. So it's plus 1. Okay? And from that point to another point, how far do you go up and over? Up, 1 over 1. So our slope is 1. Now we just need to figure out if it's going to be a less than, greater than, or a less than equal to, or greater than equal to. So if it's a dashed line, is it going to be a less than, or greater than, or a less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to? It's going to be a less than or greater than, because it's dashed, so I know that. And is all the shading below that line or above that line? Just look at this line right there. Below. So it's going to be less than x plus 1. Shh. Okay, let's do the other line. What's your y-intercept of that line? Can you tell, really? Not really, huh? It's a little tougher. I think it's supposed to be on the 1, but it didn't graph out very well. I don't think it's 2. All the options they're giving you are 1s and 2s, so let's assume that it's at 1. I don't think that it graphed very well. Okay. And then you go what? Up? It's up 1 over 1. But it's going which direction? It's going to be shaded greater than. Is it a solid line or a dashed line? Solid, so we're going to have that. But the slope is going to be negative 1 because it's going the other way, right? Plus 1. X plus 1. That graph is not a good graph. Those are our 2 equations. Let's just go with that. Okay. You will have a bonus on your test, too. I would suggest you all do it, Lily.
10 points?
No.
It's not worth 10 points?
It's not worth 10 points. It's worth 5. Okay, determine the best method to solve the system of equations. Is that a system that you all can solve?
Yes.
Absolutely. So why would you not do the bonus on your test? You have the potential to get 105 out of 100. That's a good potential. So let's just go ahead and do it real quick. Peyton, which variable would you like to cancel out first?
The top one.
No, which variable?
Oh, I'm sorry.
X's or Y's?
I'm sorry. Y.
Okay, so what's the number page that 3 and 7 go into? Can you stop
No, I
now?
want to cancel out X.
Can you stop now? Okay, you can cancel out whichever one you want.
Okay, I want to do X.
Okay, so what's the opposite of 2x?
Negative.
Negative 2x. So what do you need to multiply this top equation by to get it to be negative 2x?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. Multiply it all.
You get
We're just going to rewrite it down there.
2x plus 6y equals negative. Oh, no, 0.
Equals 0, right? So you get negative y equals 0. So what does y equal? 0. There is no opposite of 0, so it's still 0. Now where can you plug that in? into the first equation. So we have x minus 3 times 0 equals 0. What's 3 times 0? Equals 0. So what does x have to equal? 0. So your point is 0, 0. It's the only one that satisfies that equation, that system. Okay? Excellent.